Welcome to your first ever 2022 Toyota Corolla Cross. So it's bigger than the CHR and it is smaller than the RAV4, so it slots in perfectly. It's got the name recognition going for it because really anything with a Corolla attached to it is bound to sell incredibly well. So we'll take a look at how it drives, look at the outside, look at the inside, and that'll wrap us up. So all of the 5 trims of the Corolla Cross get the same engine, and that's a 2.0 liter 4-cylinder engine, 169 horsepower, 151 pound-feet of torque, and that's all through a CVT. Now, there are options for front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. So there's the L front-wheel drive, L all-wheel drive, LE front-wheel drive, LE all-wheel drive, and the top trim here, which is what I'm in, is the XLE, and that comes in only all-wheel drive. So it's not the fastest vehicle out there. Acceleration is a little on the sluggish side. You really got to stomp down and just kind of keep your foot down, and you'll get up to your speed a little slower than some other vehicles. Not dangerous by any means. You can still get up to highway speeds without any issues. Just might take a couple of seconds longer, and consider throwing your foot down a little earlier when you're trying to reach that desired highway speed when you're on your on-ramp. As far as city driving goes, it does it very well. It's a smaller footprint, so it's easy to park. It's easy to maneuver. Stop and go traffic, it's okay. It's better at lower speeds. It's a really good city vehicle. Not to say it's not good on the highway, but I found it to be more adequate for regular city/urban life for me anyway. Cornering handling, it's done okay. This isn't a performance vehicle by any means. It can still do what it needs to do. And again, I'm going to go back to what I said about a minute and a half ago. It's a safe vehicle. It is not unsafe, just to give you both the different sides of saying that. But don't expect something lightning fast here. It's still subcompact crossover, and people are buying this absolutely for the functionality side of it. I don't think anybody is buying a subcompact crossover in the non-luxury market for power, and that's not just the Corolla Cross. That's any of the vehicles. You know, the Seltos doesn't have a load of power either, but it's what it can do. It's good for city life, and it's got plenty of cargo space considering the size and class of the vehicle. I'll put my foot down and you can take a listen. So again, if you're in motion, there's a little bit of jump there. And I know I'm spending a lot of time talking about the driving dynamics of it because it's an all-new vehicle, and I've had it for a week, and what do we got? Almost 500 kilometers-ish worth. So it's not bad. Now let's talk about noise, vibration, harshness. It is really windy outside. I'm going to stop talking for a second and let you listen. So a little bit of the noise bleeds in. There's some sand and dirt kicking up off the road. So if you hear some of that, that also kind of comes through as well. Now on the top trim XLE, there is a 9-speaker JBL audio system. Not as good as what I would have expected. I've heard better JBLs and different Toyotas. A little underwhelmed with this. Doesn't sound bad. I'm a bit of an audio snob, so I've got higher expectations for my audio. I'll wrap up the driving impressions with the fuel consumption figures. So it is a 50-liter fuel tank, which is really, really good as far as getting your distance, and that'll be proven in about a second from now. 8.1 liters per 100 kilometers on city streets, 7.4 on the highway, and a blended total coming out to 7.8. Not too bad for a subcompact crossover at all. I've done a lot of city driving and been stuck in a lot of traffic, so I'm at 10.4, so definitely not a full accurate representation of an even balance between highway and city driving. I've also had some people in the vehicle as well, so that's why the fuel figures are almost 3 liters higher than what Natural Resources Canada has. Let's take a look at the outside. So it pretty much is a smaller version of the RAV4. Not a bad thing at all. The RAV4 is extremely and wildly popular as far as crossovers go, and kudos to Toyota for going, we have this great thing called the RAV4 and we can barely keep them in stock. Let's just make something smaller, put a different name on it, but part of that name being one of our most popular vehicles ever, and call it a day. Well, I know there's a lot more to it, but at its simplest form, Toyota is a little late to the subcompact crossover game, but they are here. And I think you're going to see a ton of these on the road in next, I was going to say coming months, but I want to say give it a year. It's only been out for a couple of weeks now, but I think people will flock to this in massive numbers. So LED headlights, the nice wraparound tail lights, similar to the RAV4. Nice clean body lines for a typical Toyota, conservative on the design lines and the aesthetics, no big jagged edges. Just a nice, safe and smart design here. Top trim XLE does get the 18-inch wheels. If you go to the, I believe, L, it's 16s, and the LE, you get 17s. A nice, good, clean shape. I guess this kind of counts as the exterior. You get a power trunk with the top trim XLE. XLE gets a power trunk. But overall, I've got no issues with the exterior appearance of the Corolla Cross. I guess a bit of a quirk / irk is the rear window is a little on the small and thin side, but your side mirrors are massive, proportionally speaking. Look on the inside, a nice and clean design, and that's what I like about Toyota. So we'll start with the dashboard. So top trim XLE gets a larger digital screen. Still have your analog dials on the bookends of it, and the other trims get a smaller, I believe it's 4.2 inch digital screen, but XLE, higher trim, more money, more stuff. Looking to the right of that, we have a larger infotainment system. You got hard touch buttons flanking the outsides of it. You have 2 dials, one for your tune, one for your volume. And just below that, nice, easy to use HVAC buttons with, again, 2 dials on the outside. You get your dual climate controls here as well, and then just a nice, beautifully clean look. No guesswork, no squinting, no kind of poking around and stabbing to figure out, I want the air to go in a different way, or I want the rear defroster on. Toyota's made it so easy. My favorite part of the whole thing, just below the HVAC controls, there are 3 huge, big, black, chunky buttons. Heated steering wheel, heated seats low and high for your driver and passenger, and then there's a USB to the right. With the gloves on, there's no being precise. You just put your hand, if you want the heated steering wheel or your heated seat for your driver or passenger, and that's it. I love the fact that it is foolproof and glove-proof as well. Just below that, you do get a little bit of storage, and then you have your gear shift, which again is so blatantly easy and so smartly designed. You do have your auto hold and your parking brake, a smaller button, still easy to use with gloves on. Standard Apple CarPlay, standard Android Auto, standard heated seats. I can see why Toyota has packaged it like this. And yes, I know it's the top trim. This is the trim I would go for. And I'll jump into pricing in just a little bit. I just want to wrap up a little bit more on the inside. So the seats are really comfortable. Top trim XLE gets Softex seats, gets an 8-way powered driver's seat, you get lumbar support for the driver as well. And there's really, really cool 2-tone interior where it's white and grayish, not quite black, which is nice because this comes with a sunroof. And you can see the A-pillar here is white. And even if there wasn't a sunroof, it wouldn't feel kind of closed in and smaller than it is. So, I'm a big fan of cars that have a lighter interior without a sunroof. But the fact that we have both here with the Corolla Cross just makes it that much better as far as kind of having an open and spacious feeling cabin up front. Seats in the rear, they're a little cramped, but that's not a Toyota thing. That's an everybody thing with this class of vehicle. I can barely fit behind myself. I'd probably be good for up to an hour, but it's manageable. The steering wheel is nice and thin. All the buttons are well laid out. It's comfortable to hang on to. My irk is that the entire wheel is not heated. So the top part and the bottom part, not heated, but the outsides of it are. That feels a little weird, and I would just go the extra mile and just heat the entire steering wheel, spend the extra few bucks. Toyota's big on safety, and that carries on to the Corolla Cross. So with Toyota Safety Sense 2.0, you get the lane departure assist, the lane trace assist, automatic cruise control, automatic high beams. Now, top trims do get a little more on the safety side, but the fact that every single Corolla Cross gets the Safety Sense I love it. I love that more safety features are becoming standard. Last thing we're going to touch on is pricing, and here's where it gets a little quirky. The difference between an XLE all-wheel drive RAV4 and an XLE, which is only all-wheel drive Corolla Cross, is $300. So if you want something with more power, a bigger engine, and more usable space, personally, I would go for the RAV4 for the extra couple of bucks a month, or a few bucks a month in a monthly payment. But you also get some things in the Corolla Cross that you wouldn't get in the RAV4. So it depends what you want. I just find it peculiar that similar trims are so closely priced. Now the Corolla Cross for the L front-wheel drive starts at almost $25,000, and what we have here, again, the XLE top trim all-wheel drive, only all-wheel drive, comes in at $33,990, so about $34,000. Again, 5 trims, front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive options on 4 out of the 5 trims. That's going to wrap it up for the 2022 Toyota Corolla Cross. If you've got any questions on the vehicle, let me know in the comments, and I will do my best to get you answers as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate the support. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already, and feel free to tell somebody about the channel who you think might be interested. Of course, I stop with the sun in my eyes and my sunglasses off. Until I see you again, be well, be healthy, be safe.